So, if you've ever been curious about the top of the top in Japanese education, you've probably heard names thrown around like Todai or Kyoto University. But what actually makes them so prestigious? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on Japan's whole elite university system. It's this really intricate world of rankings, reputation, and, a ton of ambition that basically shapes the future for the nation's brightest kids.
Right. So to put it in terms we can all kind of get our heads around, the first question on everyone's mind is usually this: what are Japan's Ivy Leagues? And that's the perfect way to frame this whole explainer because the answer, well, it's a lot more complex and I think a lot more fascinating than just a simple list of names.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by defining what a dream school even is. Then we'll map out the different tiers of prestige, check out the top 20 honor list, uncover a pretty cool special admissions route, and then, finally, we'll talk about what it all really means. All right, first up, university dream schools. Now, to really understand these elite places, you've got to start with the high schools that are just laser-focused on getting their students through those doors. And that brings us to a really crucial concept, shingako. These are academic high schools, and their entire reputation, everything is built on one thing: getting their students into these top-tier universities. For these schools, every single acceptance letter from a big-name national university is like a badge of honor. They'll proudly display it for everyone to see. It's literally the ultimate measure of their success. Okay, so which universities are we actually talking about here? Let's map out the three distinct tiers of prestige, because it's not just one big group. There's this really clear hierarchy that, everyone in the system just gets. At the very, very top, you've got Tier 1, the dream schools. This group is mostly made up of the Kyuteidai. Those are the old imperial universities from back in the day, plus a few other elite schools. These are the absolute titans of Japanese academia. And what's really interesting is how each school has its own distinct personality. You have the University of Tokyo, or Todai, which is just the undisputed symbol of academic excellence. But then you've got Kyoto University, which is just as prestigious, but it's famous for its freedom of thought and all this groundbreaking research. Getting into any of these is a huge deal, the kind of thing a high school will announce at assemblies. Now, just a step below those dream schools, we find Tier 2, the regional powerhouses. These are either super specialized schools or they're the leading universities in their part of the country, and believe me, they command a ton of respect. And this tier really shows you that prestige isn't just about being a generalist, Like if your passion is social sciences or economics, Hitotsubashi University is the place to be. If you're all about engineering or tech, then the Tokyo Institute of Technology is the absolute pinnacle. These schools are total powerhouses in their own right. And finally, we've got Tier 3, prestigious public universities. The key difference here is that these are not national universities run by the main government. Nope, they're public institutions run by local prefectures or cities. But don't let that fool you. They are incredibly selective and really, really well regarded. Yeah, just look at this list. You can see schools like Osaka Metropolitan University and Tokyo Metropolitan University. For students who live in those areas, these schools offer an education that rivals a lot of the national universities. They're just fantastic, strong alternatives. Okay, so now that we get the tiers, let's talk about the list that truly matters for those academic high schools we mentioned. This is the national top 20, the ultimate honor list. This is it. This is the whole shebang. When a Shingako publishes its university acceptance results every year, this is the list they're measuring themselves against. Every single school wants to see its name next to as many of these universities as they can possibly get. It's basically their public scoreboard of success. Let's break this chart down a bit. Right at the top, you see ranks 1 through 5 are considered the most difficult to get into. We're talking Tokyo, Kyoto, Tokyo Tech, Osaka, and Tohoku. These are the absolute dream for any top student. But look further down the list, maybe to a school like Kanazawa University at number 16. It's a flagship school in its region, and getting accepted there is still a massive, massive achievement. So far, we've been talking all about the grueling exam-based system. But what if I told you there's another way in? Let's explore the recommendation pathway. It's kind of like an inside track to admission. So this is called the Gakko Suisengata Senbatsu, or school recommendation selection. And it's a system where universities will actually invite specific designated high schools to recommend one of their very best students. And to make this really concrete, we're going to use the Tokyo University of Science as our case study. So here's the crucial point. This is not a path you can just decide to take.
First, your high school has to be invited by the university. Then, you have to win the internal competition at your school just to become the single nominee. And only after all that do you get to register online, submit all your documents, complete whatever special tasks the university gives you, and finally, go to an interview. And this timeline just shows you how early this whole thing starts. The university sends out its request to high schools way back in July. A student needs to lock down that coveted nomination from their own school by around September. And then it's just this whirlwind of online applications and extra assignments like book reports or solving advanced problem sets, all leading into the new year. Whew, okay, we've covered the hierarchy, the rankings, and this whole alternative pathway. So what does it all add up to? Let's get to our final takeaway, what this system really means.
So here are the 3 big things to remember. First, there's a clear, multi-tiered hierarchy that defines what prestige means. Second, a high school's reputation pretty much lives and dies by its placement record in these top universities. And third, while exams are the main event, these specialized routes, like school recommendations, offer another super competitive path to the top. And that leaves us with one final, and I think pretty provocative question to chew on. With so much emphasis on reputation and tiers and getting into the right school, does this intense focus on university rankings ultimately help, or does it maybe hinder true learning? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.